So guys, what's up? It's Micah Erumaka here. Let me put this over here. So okay, let me just maximize this more to show my face before we talk about the project we are going to be building. So what's up guys, it's Micah Erumaka here, and I made a video last year talking about my journey in software dev. So we're in a new year, this is 2025, and I'm looking at improving on my backend engineering skills. Just I started coding in 2017, and after some things around business, I stopped coding in 2017. I was just 17 years of age back then, and now in 2024, I said getting back into programming, starting off with backend engineering. Since I already have a background in JavaScript, I decided to dive into the world of Node.js, right? And the last couple of months in 2024, I've been mostly learning and trying to build some mini stuff, right? I have a project or a side project I'm trying to actually build this year. Check rates. I'll give you guys more info on that later on as the year goes by. It's something I want to launch out there, probably to my audience. I have another channel on finance because it's something I love talking about. So this channel is basically for my documenting my journey, learning to code, and teaching, because I believe the best way to learn is to teach. So if I learn, I'll come and teach it, and if I can be able to teach what I learned and somebody out there watches it and understand it, it means personally I understood what I learned. So my goal is to learn by building and learn by teaching. Yeah, so I will talk teaching most of the things I learn and building as I learn. So that's just by the way. So I have an internship that is coming up this year, HNG internship, and I applied for the backend engineering role in that internship, and then product management role. So I'm in two tracks in the internship. For those of you that are not aware, HNG internship is a very fast-paced internship. It's an internship that deals with the organizers giving you tasks to do, and you have to, for you to get to the next stage, you need to get those tasks done, right? Now I've actually participated in this internship, but I was not in the back end track or product management track. I was in the marketing track, and this was back in 2022. And God's willing, I made it to the final stage in the marketing track. So I was out of thousands of people, or let's say marketers, that applied. I was able to reach the last stage, which is stage 10, and graduate as a finalist. It actually comes with a great honor to be a finalist in HNG, because it's a very gruesome internship. It's fast paced, you work with different people, it's a wonderful internship. And getting into backend engineering, I decided to, since I'm trying to learn by building, to apply for the internship again and build and learn, right? And the internship is coming up very soon, this January. And my goal literally right now is to prepare myself for that internship by building stuff around backend engineering and doing a little bit of product management, right? So this particular video is going to be focused on me, talking about trying to build a particular backend system, a REST API. I think I'm still here to decide a project. I'll show you guys the project I'm considering doing, right? But I'm basically looking to build something around like a backend engineering system for either in news aggregation. Let me just minimize so you guys can see what I'm talking about here. I'll show you a project I'm considering building. So there are 4 projects in this backend engineering task over here. So you can see. So these are some backend engineering projects that beginners can actually get done. I'll leave a link to this in the description for anybody that wants to also take, is looking at improving on their backend engineering skills. They can build out some of this stuff. So I'm looking at building out one out of these 4 projects before that internship starts. I think it's going to help me, improve on building good systems and all that stuff, right? So I'm yet to decide. I'm thinking of building this one, a REST API for a library management system. It looks much more complicated. Let's just glance through it. So okay, so build a RESTful API for a library management system that manages books, authors, and users. You should also handle borrowing and returning books, which is cool, with additional feature like rule-based access control, search, and caching. Okay, awesome. So these are some of the requirements. You use a relational database, MySQL, Postgres, or SQLite. Okay, these are some of the entities. Awesome. This looks like a for a beginner, someone who's trying to just getting into backend and all that, like me. I think it's going to open me and expose me to a whole lot. So I think it's nice. So the second one is a news aggregator API. Build a RESTful API for a news aggregator service that fetches articles from various sources. And I think this might not really be that difficult, because I think I've built a RESTful API that fetches stuff from various sources and provides endpoint for it. Which is not bad. I don't think this is really going to be that difficult, because I've tried to build something like this, even though it's for currencies and not for news. So this looks a little bit easy, not that easy, but easy. So let's go. So this one is to build an automated email notification system with cron jobs. Just to schedule automated. This looks okay. To be sent at a future date using cron jobs. Okay. Allow users use OOP principles. This looks like something I'm really yet to really understand OOP principles. So I think this might be an interesting stuff to build. So the database design is tables, user, schedule emails. Okay, cool. Use MVC, which is the MVC system design. I'm trying to remember it again. The controller is the C, the V is the views, and then the M is the models, and not the middleware. I believe is the models. So MVC stands for models, view, and controller. It's a system, is a backend engineering or backend design engineering system. I hope I got that right. So if you're looking at building APIs or a backend for a particular application, the models have to do with how you interact with the database. The views is basically the views is not the root. I have to get this. Well, the controllers interact with the models. The models interact with the database, right? So if you want to build an efficient back end, right, that is able to send response to the front end, and you don't want to like clutter all your code in one place, one of the best design patterns to use is the MVC design pattern, where the model interacts with the database. So it has to do with the database. The controller has to do with pulling data from the models, right, interacting with the models, and then the views is the response. I hope I get that correct. And it interacts with the controllers. So yes, the controllers, yes. So just be sure I explain this properly. We are going to go to ChatGPT and ask it about the MVC design system. So even if I don't explain it better or in a way that someone watching this can understand, probably I can still learn, because like I said, the goal is to learn by teaching and by building. So let's ask ChatGPT. Please explain the MVC design back-end design system. So this is the best way to learn. So the model, I got it. The view and the controller is a software architectural pattern used to organize separate concerns in an application. It divides the backend into 3 interconnected components. I got that to an extent. So the model handles the data and the business logic of the application. Yes, the database, the data, okay, rules for. Okay, so you can see it here. What it does, it interacts with the database, maintains the state of the application, and the key features is independent of the user interface. Okay, so yeah, the views displays the data from the model. Yes, data in an interface. Okay, yeah, and that makes sense, because when I started learning backend engineering, right, one of the ways I was using to present data from the backend was using a template like this particular template engine I was using. I don't remember this template engine I was using. I've forgotten, but I know there's a way you can present data without actually using a front-end framework like React and the rest of them. There's a way you can present data from the backend, from the database in your back-end application using a particular template. I can remember this. I will not forget. I'm coming back to that. Okay, so let's see. So it captures user input and sends it to the controller for processing. So like I said, the controller interacts with the model. So it acts as a bridge between the model and the view. That's what the controller does. It acts like a middleman. So the controller connects the models to the view. I hope that makes sense. So as you can see, what does the controller do? It handles user input, processes the input, and sends it to the model. Okay, exactly. So let me just clarify something. What template view template engine can be used? I'm trying to remember, because when you one of the issues that's made me forget it is because I understand that repetition makes you know something, and you are not in a world where you don't necessarily need to render your back end using most of those templates. If you're looking at building a full stack application, basically you build your back end independently and then you build your front end independently, and your front end is basically going to be using frameworks like React or vanilla JavaScript. So there's no need for you to start trying to like display the views in your back end. So that was one of the reasons why I'm not able to remember it. But I know that since I'm talking about it now, next time I should be able to remember it, since I'm trying to explain it to people. So let's ask ChatGPT. It's going to remind me. I'm trying to remember. EJS, God bless you. Yes, embedded JavaScript. Yes, and so these are different template engines that can be used. You have EJS. I prefer EJS actually. It's much more dynamic, and it's very, very easy to integrate with Express.js, as you can see here. So you have Pog, you have Handlebars, and you have Mustache, you have Twig. I don't really know about these other ones. The ones that are quite popular are the Pog, which is formerly known as Jade, and then EJS. I personally prefer EJS. When I was starting out, or a few months when I was trying to get into the world of backend, I made use of EJS for an e-commerce platform which I was trying to build, right? So we are going to be designing the backend system, and the project I'm going to be focused on is going to be this first one, this REST API for a library management system. I think this one is a little bit complicated. I'm coming. Who is that? I'm coming. So I'm back again, guys. Sorry for that little interruption. So as I was saying, I think I'll be building out, let me cue this here. I think I'll be building out this particular REST API because it looks much more complicated and it's going to open my eyes to a whole lot. Personally, I've been using MongoDB for my database, but I think learning how to use MySQL would not be a bad idea with this project. I might make use of I'll prefer MySQL for this, so make use of MySQL, and I look forward to giving you guys updates by the end of the week on this project. So what I'm going to do right now is try to set up my environment for the building of this application, right? So we'll start off by creating a folder using git bash. So let's start off by creating a folder, mkdir. Let me see, this is going to be library management system, LBS. I'll call it LMS. So I'll call it LMS LMS. So this is LMS. So what we are going to do now is to what do we need to do now? We need to create a folder. So we need to what do we need to install? We need to install some package. We need to install some packages like Express.js and the rest of them, right? So let's say npm install Express.js. Hope I'm getting this right. So since we are yet to have most of all this off head, what we can do is I like to use ChatGPT once in a while when I forget something. So how do you or just put it on the loop on what I'm building. I'm building in I'm building a REST API for a library management system. So for a library management system, I need to install Express.js. I need to install MySQL. This is not what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do. I went on mistakenly. I'm trying to set up my environment by tools I plan use include let me see, we're going to use MySQL. MySQL yeah, let me just say MySQL before we start installing the middlewares. So how do I store them to npm on git bash? I know it's npm install, but I don't want to make mistakes because this is just the environment. Don't get me wrong, making mistakes is part of the game, but this is the basic stuff. So I think this is the foundation and it's necessary I don't really make any mistakes on the npm packages and other stuff. So say run npm init and create a package.json file, npm install, okay, Express.js, MySQL 2, save. Okay, this is node-mon. Node-mon is for when you click on Ctrl S, it's your server restarts automatically. Then I install my environment, my .env. So this is cool. I can recall what I need to do now. So let's just get down to it. npm init -y. Let me check something. Npm install npm init y. So npm init y. Okay, this is cool. So let's see what happens here. So I want to basically just install Express and install some of the fundamental things that are going to be needed for this particular application. But by the end of the week, I'm going to give you guys feedback on how far I've gone on this particular project. My goal for this first week of January is to build out this particular RESTful API. So aside from this, I also create finance videos and do some other stuff now. And I'm also a student in UIU Idaho. I'm pursuing a degree in software development, and semester is starting tomorrow, which is the 6th of January, right? So my goal basically, or building this RESTful API, is going to be interrupted with school and some other things, but I hope by the end of the week I should have gone far with this project. So this is me saying see you at the end of the week, and I hope you follow my journey in being one of the best, or being a good software engineer, particularly backend engineer, but generally a good software developer, because that's the goal. I'm not trying to tie myself in a box of backend engineer. So see you on the next video, and like I always say in Deo,